Yo, what's up, guys? It's Talon. Today we're going to be coaching a Zed jungle and Yasuo mid lane player. They're a challenger peak, currently Diamond 1 at the time that I was recording this, which is, by the time you guys see this, probably about a week or so old. Mainly focusing kind of on like planning and sort of really understanding how the next minute or two of the game is going to go before it actually happens, so you can really make a plan. It's kind of for a little bit of a higher level player who has a decent understanding of the game already. So if you guys are kind of, in that, say, master to grandmaster peak range, challenger peak, this is probably a pretty good video for you, just understanding some of those, more detailed things on planning how the next couple minutes of your game will go. If you guys are interested in getting coached from a rank 5 sovereign autofill player like myself, just DM me on Discord, Talon1169, or through the link in the description to my Discord server. It's just $15 an hour for an hour of coaching. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's get right into it. You said you were Yasuo main, didn't you? Or
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is my account. Really nice to meet you, Talon. I've been watching your stream for a couple months.
appreciate that.
And season stats, but yeah, I'm a Yasuo main, but I also do play like Zed jungle, Yo mid. I play all roles like kind of like okay, but I do main Yasuo. So I'm gonna show two VODs. One is Zed jungle because I want to improve my Zed jungle, and then one is Yasuo main. Is that okay?
Also, you kind of keep like randomly not like cutting out, but it sounds like you're like going farther away from your mic or something. I don't know, so it's like a little hard to hear you at certain times.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Is
you're
this
better
okay?
now. Yeah, now you're closer.
Okay, sorry. All right.
But yeah, we can just go into the replay and then go from there.
All right.
Do you have any typical like issues or questions or anything like that, before we start?
Yeah. For context, this Lee Sin was a multi-seasonal sovereign player, so I got completely fisted.
Gotcha.
And I want to like see what he did right and what I did wrong and what I could do better.
Yeah. So quickly pause here, and then click in the top to right, the 3 little bars, and click Fog of War. Make it blue. That way I'd see what you would see in the game, and then yeah, go from there. So the first thing to like keep in mind is always just, I assume your blue side start because you're Zed. You can go with the replay because you're just going to be clearing. So since you kind of have to blue side start, but you don't really want to be matched by Lee Sin, basically you just full clear, and then if you see Scuttles taken, you just recall immediately, get your boots, and then go other side. And if it's not taken, obviously you just get it. So that's typically, I just always want to have a plan of like what I'm going to do depending on what I see, because here you kind of don't want to, go near the enemy jungle. Most likely, since he's a lot better early. So that's just like the main thing to keep in mind so far. Yeah, I don't know if you're like,
so I typically start.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I typically start blue here on Zed, and then I'll ward my red. Like you said, Lee Sin's strong early, so I want to avoid him. The thing is, as we'll see here later in this replay, I get cheesed on my Krugs.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so Lee Sin will invade me because he knows, as you know, he's a multi-seasonal sovereign player. He knows I'm blue side, and I'm gonna have down. So we're gonna see that.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that happens with champions who have predictable pathing. Like, you pretty much always have to start blue for Zed. Same with like Olaf, usually that type of thing. So yeah, it makes them able to like do these types of things sometimes. It is not something that happens very commonly, even against a lot of sovereigns, but every once in a while it will. I'm surprised it works out that well, because you should have Prio with Singed, most likely. I guess Echo can kind of get it. But yeah, kiting up here, I don't really see why you kite up, I guess, to get the thing, but just...
Yeah, just to check for vision on Lee, that was a bad... That was like a bad... Yeah, because I didn't see if his blue is gone or not.
Yeah, not the end of the world, though. And yeah, you need to stop smiting when it's not one-hittable, because you've smited twice when it's not one-hittable, and then you kind of screw yourself over. Like, if he like, say he invaded your red there, you wouldn't have, you would have been screwed there. So like that's the second time you've done that. So that's like a pretty small thing, but here you don't even get screwed over bad. He gets like an extra 100 gold, just really not the end of the world. So yeah, I don't really mind falling behind like that. There's nothing really to do to avoid that either. So yeah, obviously your clear is fine. You're a challenger player, I'd assume you can clear fine.
Sorry, can I pause here for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
So one of my issues is, as I play Zed jungle, just jungle in general, after my first clear at 2 minutes, right, there's an opportunity where I'm level 5, I get opportunity for a first gank, right? Things go well, I get first blood, I get some turret plates. But after that, I have a tendency to autopilot. So what I'll do is full clear, first gank after 2 minutes, go
Yeah.
back, recall, boots, longsword, and then I'll just full clear again, look for a gank. Full
Yeah.
clear again, look for a gank. I'm not like being really proactive. I'm not like playing really consciously. I'm just playing more on autopilot.
I mean, that's not really a big issue. Like that is, people ask me like if I think jungle's a hard role. I don't think it's a hard role because you can autopilot early game for the most part like that. Like
Okay.
you should be thinking, like you should be like, okay, this is where the jungler might be. This is the lane I'd rather spend my time ganking, whatever. But in terms of like your clear, you will just pretty much as soon as those camps are up, you clear them and then you just go for a gank right away. The only real important thing to keep in mind is one, pinging where the enemy jungle is. So for example, this game, like we know that we're matched with the Sin's clear, so we need to be aware that he's like in a relatively similar spot to us, pinging our teammates so they're aware of that. But I don't really have an issue with like, I mean, we can see the specific scenario, but most of the time it is that straightforward. Like the first 5 minutes of the game is extremely straightforward, and almost any player that I coach, whether they're an Emerald player or a Sovereign player, they can pretty much get the same early game every time where they're almost never going to die, they're almost never going to fall behind, and they're always hit their same item spike. And then certain games it works out where you get a first blood or a second blood, but I don't really think that's that big of an issue. I mean, we'll see, if we go into the replays more and there's more stuff, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, something I want to work on as well, like just to let you know, is where to be on the map at the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll just
Yeah,
see.
we'll pay attention to that for sure.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, your thing is pretty much just like, I mean, you have prio, so you can fight this fine. But yeah, like say like they had prio here, I'd just be trying to hit the smite, and then if I don't hit the smite, I just use the clone or whatever, the shadow to go away. But you have, again, everything with your plan here is fine so far. Some games your team's gonna fall behind early like this, some games you'll get the lead. And again, like most higher level players can always follow the proper sequence in the early game to like be in a fine spot, and it's kind of just random whether or not it actually works out for you or not, as long as you're not making any like overly risky plays or dumb things. So yeah, I mean, that's mostly it so far. Like I said, usually when I'm coaching jungle players who are higher level, there's not that much to talk about early game if you're efficient enough, which it seems like you're pretty aware of that. So
Yeah. Okay, wait. So can I pause here?
yeah.
So I look and see. So my top is just recalled.
Yeah.
Bot support is missing and Zeri's full health. Echoes under turret. Singe has pushed. So I'm just thinking, okay, then I'm just gonna clear my top side again, and then look for a gank, possibly bot if they trick.
I mean, I would probably prefer gank or doing top side camps and then just going bot side, because my bot side camps will probably clear, because you probably clear the first bot side camp around a minute ish, or like a minute 10, which means it respawns at like 3:30 or 40 ish. And so yeah, I think it would be like that, 150.
Okay, so to like clear top and then go straight bot.
Yeah, no, it'd be more like 310 or 320 they'd spawn. Yeah, so you just go straight to bot side. The reason that it doesn't make much sense for you to go top side, so where's Lee Sin right now? You should know where he is. Where is he?
He's around top side here.
Yeah, he's on one of those camps. And so he has two options. He either does the same thing you do. He goes to his blue side, you go to your red side same time, in which case you're matched with him. You're perfectly fine with that, because if he does try to gank, you have a Tryndamere. Tryndamere's not going to get one shot, and then you'll be able to follow up and probably ult if he like uses too much. You're in a fine spot, because with Lee Sin, you're fine with going even. So if you're matching him constantly and you're just playing the counter gank, that's perfectly fine. So we're happy with that. Now the other scenario is he goes for a topside gank, and if you go there for the topside gank with him, well, one, both of your teammates have flash as well as cleanse and heal. They have a lot of things, so they likely won't die, because again, cleanse means that hard for Thresh to engage. That's the only real hard CC that they'll have. Not very strong early game. Lux decent self peel. So basically, rather unlikely with them being full health and everything that anything actually happens there. So unlikely that your presence really matters for the most part. And in a straight up 3v3 as well, you're overall losing. Thresh is going to be better at skirmishing most of the time than Lux. Obviously Lee, right? So basically that's why going bot side makes more sense, because then if he does overextend top side, after you clear your bot side, you can possibly go invade his Gromp or something. You get that gold, and getting Gromp is worth as much as a kill, because you get 150 and you deny 150, so it's 300, right? So that's the same as if he got a kill. So it's a safer play for you, just more like consistent as well. And again, regardless of how he responds, it's always going to be beneficial. Does that make sense?
Yeah, got it.
And yeah, you can pause anytime, by the way. You don't need to ask me. Pause. I don't know why you stopped going for your Gromp, by the way, but I mean...
Wait. So if I rewind, I think I saw Leon Vision right here.
But you have
I see
Smite, so all you have to do is just kite it in a weird way, and you're just fine. Like you have Smite, don't you? Yeah, you do. So I don't see why you were so scared of it. And you also have ways to get out. In worst case, he goes on you and you lose your ult to like, and maybe you miss the smite. Like, there's no reason to do all this. Where now, like, you're a lot more inefficient with your clear. I mean, like, I'm fine with you doing this in terms of fighting him, but you could have just been fighting him after you cleared your camp anyway. Like, there's no real reason to be so scared off of it. But yeah, I mean, that's really the only thing. It's just like, you're overly worried about him smiting you. He's not going to have vision, so he's going to be jumping into a weird spot. Again, you just kite the camp down so he can't, like, just throw a blind Q on it, right? Like, obviously, if you keep it in the spot that it spawns on, he'll throw a blind Q and might hit it. But otherwise, he has to walk all the way into you to actually get vision for, like, him to land it. If you really want, you can stand in front of the Gromp to tank the Qs, so it's harder for him to smite as well. It's a bit more risky, but you'll have your ult and your clone or your shadow thing again to run, like, back to, right? So you're not ever really going to die there. And now what you ended up doing is you screw it up to the point that now you're so inefficient that if you do full blue side and then full red side, you have no time to really recall and spend your gold and then be on an objective early enough. You'll have to either do all of your full clear and then go straight to objective without spending gold, so then you're weaker, or you recall and you're late. So that's why it's really important to be really efficient with the second clear. Whereas again, you were even thinking about the top side gank, like you said. That's why I really don't like. So let's say, you know, you clear 4 total sides, right? You clear top side twice and bot side twice every game, right? Like, that's typically what you do. And so on your third side clear, as in you've done top and bot once, now you go back to top. After that clear, it's very rare that you're going to immediately go for a gank. Unless you see, like, you know, really low health bars or something like that. But otherwise, you're just going to go back to bot side. Because if you don't go back to bot side, you're going to be in the same situation you're in now, where you're going to not be able to both recall and set up in time for the first objective, basically. That makes sense?
Yes, got it. Okay, totally. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so here, like you said, behind
you
in
force
tempo.
a gank. So yeah, this is where it becomes like kind of, or you're looking for a gank. Like, the fact that you're even thinking about that is what's kind of problematic at this point. Because, like, let's say again, hypothetically, you went there and you killed Zeri, you waste 15 seconds, then you're definitely going to have to fight an objective without clearing your red side. And if you do that, by the time you're done with the objective, let's say it now, instead of it being 5 minutes, probably 5:45 to 6 minutes is the time that we get reset and the objective's done being fought over, whatever. So now you've missed out on red side for over 45 seconds. Let's just say a minute for, like, easier math. And so you bleed about 1 to 2 gold per second every second you don't kill a camp, and there's 3 camps not being killed, which means that you're bleeding 3 gold a second, 3 times, you know, 60. That's at least 180 gold a second, assuming it doesn't get invaded, assuming you don't die on the objective because you're weaker, all those types of things, right? So
yeah, so here I got invaded by Lee.
yeah, and again, that's because of your inefficiency as well, which isn't even something I mentioned. But the reason you were able to get invaded is because you were going for that top side. You showed yourself on top side. You stayed on top side way too long, so you never even got to your bot side. So that's another reason I didn't even, you know, really think about that at the time. But that's another, you know, negative to that kind of play, right? So
yeah.
So it's really, yeah, like, you're trying to be more, I guess, nuanced in your thinking, like, you know, take into account like 20 different, you know, things, like where's jungle pathing, like who can I gank, when can I gank. You're basically just trying to force a lot too much, when early game is extremely straightforward. Like, some early games your team's gonna lose lane, some early games your team's gonna win lane. I don't care. All I want is for you to hit the same item spikes and the same gold and to clear all, like, each side twice every single game. Every once in a while, sure, like, we'll have a very rare game where crazy shit happens and we, like, you know, only get to clear 3 sides total because we have a bunch of, like, fighting going on, but not on Zed, right? That'd be if you're playing Warwick or you're playing Vi or maybe Lee Sin. Maybe every once in a while that happens, but like, Zed just can't. Like, you're not strong enough early game. You don't, it's just pointless, right? And, like, let's say that Lee Sin wasn't bad and he actually contested you on Herald, you would have lost the entire game off that play alone. Because Lee Sin would have contested you on Herald. He knows you're way weaker than him because he invaded, so he's going to be up a level. He gets proper recall timers because he's been more efficient than you. He contests you, you're completely screwed, basically. So, and he gets Herald instead of, you know, but even then he still gets first turret, so it's still kind of negative here. That's kind of the main thing. So that all kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so let me pause here. I also, talking about efficiency, I saw a Royal video. I know you love Royal, by the way, but
I do
Royal
like
said,
Royal. I sarcastically a lot of times, like, say I hate him, but I actually like him, to be clear.
yeah,
So,
I know.
okay,
But he did say in a video, as a jungler, you want to be about level 8 by the time of first objective spawn. So like Herald
yeah.
Dragon. Ideally, level 8 is perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. But
I mean, yeah, like, it's good if you're level 8. I'm pretty sure if you only just clear everything, I don't know if I think you'd just be level 7 if you like just cleared everything twice and were a part of 0 kills, 0 assists. And I'm fine with that in like certain games. Like for me, I've never once thought like I want this level. I mean, that's true, you know, like level 8, I'm sure it's like if we farm properly and we get a killer and assist, it's gonna be level 8. But I'm perfectly fine with being level 7 if no opportunities showed up and I just full cleared each side twice. And that makes me level 7. Like I'm not worried about hitting a specific like XP threshold or gold threshold. I want to get all of the gold that's guaranteed to me on the map, which is just the, you know, all the camps, and then anything else is just a plus basically.
okay. Yeah, so here now, our top turret's destroyed. Lee's
Yeah.
invading. Rush is coming. Um, Lux is moving here. Should I
Yeah.
give this?
No, you should just try to smite, and then you either hit the smite or you don't. That's all there is to it. It's
Okay.
pretty much because you have enough. Like you have flash and you have your thing to go away. Like you should have started hitting this and just baited him to try to smite fight you. Like there's no like you could have started hitting it on the edge like this and then just yeah, you should just be autoing this. Like it should already be dead at this point, but now you're not able to chase quite as quickly. Not a big deal, but and then here you probably could try to fight. I don't know. Nah, it looks unwinnable at this point. So yeah, just back off. I mean, everything's fine there again, yeah. I mean, really, there's not too many issues with most of the stuff apart from you forcing ganks, but you forcing ganks a lot of times will, I mean, it has been a pretty big issue because you're down, you know, 1,400 gold, and I think he invaded all 3 of your camps on red side, which is 450 gold for him and 450 denied from you, so there's currently a 1,500 roughly gold like differential between you guys, and that would be cut in by 900, so that'd be cut basically in half, and he got this timer on your camp. The reason he knows this camp is up is because he had the timer from the previous invade. So now you've lost 600 gold from invades, and he's gained 600, so you've lost 1,200 just from your inefficiency alone. And this is like, normally when you're that inefficient, you're not going to get punished because you're going to play against a master jungler who's worse than you. But yeah, when you play against a guy who's okay at the game like this guy, and he's on an early game champ, you get completely screwed. And then it makes you feel like you have to force an invade like that, and then you just go too deep. So, I mean, obviously that one's pretty straightforward, right? We just went a bit too deep. We could have just kited it again, like to the edge, right? Like we could have tried to still invade the blue, but you just kite it to the edge of the thing, so it's safer for you. But yeah.
Okay. Another question.
Yeah.
So, first objective spawns by the time the 3rd round of your camps spawn, right?
Yeah.
So you full clear twice. Let's say I full clear twice as Zed, and then the first objective dragon herald will spawn.
Yeah.
By the time that my 3rd round of camp spawn should, so I should just focus on being able to contest at like say herald or dragon instead of going directly for my camps, right?
Do you know how long a camp takes to respawn?
Um, not exactly. I was
Okay,
thinking
a
like
small camp takes 1 minute and 50 seconds, and a big camp takes 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So let's say that you start on a big camp, which is what you should usually do. So you're going to clear that camp at 20, which means it's going to respawn at 250. Kill it again, it won't respawn until 520. So big camps will never respawn for a 3rd time right away, you know, at 5 minutes, right? It'll be longer. Small camps, so let's say we started a big camp, so when we go first small camp at 35 seconds, we clear it at, let's say, 40. So 40 plus 150, that's 220, then 220 plus 150, assuming we clear it immediately, is, why can't I do math now? 430. And so 430 might be the next time that one small camp's respawning, and then the other small camp maybe 445 to 450. So basically 430, that's enough time if you've already recalled to do your 3rd camp, right? Like one more time on like a small camp, so like a Gromp or a Krugs, depending on which side we start on. So we can probably get the Gromp or Krugs if we're naturally going that way. Like let's say we want to contest Herald and Gromp's on that side. We can go get our Gromp as we're walking towards Herald, right? But basically, you might get 1 or 2 small camps a 3rd time around before you go for the objective, but only if it's on the side you want to go for. And it's not something to overly concern yourself with. It's basically, if you have nothing better to do with your time, then you can go for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, got it.
And yeah, I mean, at this point, the main thing I'm looking for is for you to start taking a lot more lane gold on the opposite side of wherever we see the enemy contesting. So I want you to go top side initially here because you have your camps up. Like, I don't want you prioritizing this gold right away on this wave. But when the dragon's coming closer to spawn, and I don't really mind if we take this, like it's not that bad, right? But I'd rather we're getting our kind of camps cleared right now. That way, when the dragon is going to spawn, we already sort of have cleared all of our camps, so we can go in or be in a position to go to the side lane, bot side here, because it's opposite of dragon, and then like set up for that. Whereas you got invaded here because you don't go for your camps right away on top side, like he took your gromp, and that's only possible because you didn't go there right away. So even though you got a kill here, 300 gold probably, depending on how much he was worth, you lost 300 gold again. So you're just constantly not clearing your camps quick enough, and Lee is just constantly having timers. And Infernal map, obviously, you know, easier to invade, right? So basically, it's the same thing. Like, you really have one issue in this entire game, and it's just that you're not clearing your camps fast enough, and you're just over-forcing things. Because look again at the timer we're on now. Now you clear the top side, you show yourself top side, you clear your blue buff here, and now you have to recall to spend your gold and to get higher health at like 15 seconds, or maybe 20 seconds before objective spawns. That means now you only have about 10 seconds to set up on the opposite side before the enemy are already able to kill the dragon, and you can't get far enough bot side in that time period. So you see exactly what's happening now. It's kind of the same thing as your earlier reset, where you're like, where you didn't clear your, you know, red side a second time right away, and so then you weren't able to set up for that dragon. So basically, you're just having very poor planning, like 30 to 60 seconds before objectives, basically.
Got it. So here as well, I paused because
Yeah.
I had enough gold for Cleaver, but not Trinity, so I went Cleaver. Is that okay? Or should I just have
I don't
bot?
play Zed enough to know which item is like absolutely optimal. Like, honestly, this game, they have Thresh who's going to stack armor. I don't mind having, you know, percent pen into that. You'll probably get Mortal eventually for that as well. And like, in terms of items, both are fine. But let's say, again, I've never really done the math on these specific items for this champion. Let's say Trinity's a better item than Cleaver, but it's slightly more expensive. What are you going to do with your next 30 to 60 seconds right now?
Right here?
Yeah, what's your plan? Or what should be your plan? I don't care what you actually do. What is your plan, or should it be?
To set up for Dragon?
Why?
Well, they already got first drag. And it's spawning in 8 seconds. And looking at both team comps, I think we have a chance of winning, but
Why do you think you have... What do you think your chances of winning in this fight is?
I guess like 30-70.
Okay, so why would we contest 30-70 fight when this dragon means nothing? Like, what does this dragon mean to you? Like, it means nothing. Okay, I'm asking you all a question. Fighting an objective when you think you're not going to win, if it's a random dragon that doesn't matter, is completely useless. Because think about it this way. So, does it make sense to you that a 4,000 gold lead earlier in the game is more impactful than a 4,000 gold lead later? Does that make sense? Why or no?
Because you can snowball?
No. So well, partially, I guess, but the main reason it makes sense is, so let's say I have 5,000 gold and you have 7,000 gold. You're 2,000 gold ahead of me, but if I had 10,000 and you had 12,000, like in terms of a percentage, there's a much smaller gap between 10,000 and 12,000 compared to 5,000 and 7,000. So your overall stats that you're getting are, I don't know, like the math like on it, because I don't know how to do that percentage exactly, but it's like roughly like 20% more stats that you're gonna have. Whereas let's say, and then it's 10,000 to 12,000, it'd be like 15 or 10%, because it's the gap between that is just not as much. Like, your stats aren't as, I don't know, explain it so well, because apparently my brain doesn't work today. But basically, having a 4,000 gold lead later in the game is just not as impactful because the stats are going to be closer. So it's not, there's no point in taking a random fight earlier in the game when you can have the same fight for third dragon, for example, after just farming up evenly, farming side lane, getting yourself closer to catch up the enemy. And then instead of it being a 30-70 fight, you might have a 40-60 fight. And that is the only fight that matters, because you're only trying to deny one dragon, right? Like, they already have one dragon.
Yeah.
So I don't know, did that make sense, or did I know I explained it pretty poorly?
Yeah,
but
that does make sense. I guess I was scared that here, if they secured second dragon, then they'd be at soul point, and then we'd be in a bad spot for third dragon fight where they can force it. We can be forced into a really bad position.
So they might force you to fight because you know you have to fight. Sure, but in your mind, you have to fight this one anyways. Like that's what you're doing right now. Like you're going and fighting a fight that doesn't matter. So yeah, if you felt like in the next 5 minutes the game's only going to get worse, like let's say I don't know they were Kayle, Lulu, Kaisa, you know whatever, they were really good late game, then maybe it makes sense to not want to like wait until longer. But in this case, again, you're trying to choose which fight you think is more likely. Lee Sin doesn't get stronger later the game goes. Thresh kind of falls off as well. Not like insanely hard, but you guys have 2 AP. He's not like insanely good into you guys. The rest of their comp's decent scaling, but your comp scales really well. So basically, again, to generalize, the point is, if you don't think that there's a relatively high likelihood of you winning a random fight at a dragon because you guys are down, then you should just go on the side lane, get a bunch of gold for yourself, so that you can diminish the gap for the 3rd dragon fight instead. So in this case, what I'd want you to do is go farm your red side, go bot side, take a wave there, recall, spend your gold, and then what you're going to do after you've recalled is you're going to go for that top turret. The reason that you can go for that top turret now is because if you did everything I said, dragon would have already been taken for about, let's say, 15 or 20 seconds of the enemy. And so usually, right before you do a dragon, you're going to farm your camps on the same side of the map, right? Like that's what a jungler is going to do a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And so now he's going to go to his blue side, most likely, after he's done that. And so by the time he's on his blue side, you're going to be able to get this top turret and have an easier gank. Does that make sense or no? Because I know I didn't explain it the best, so if you need me to like re-explain it, I can, but...
No, it makes sense.
Okay.
Here I made the wrong. Yeah. What you're talking about here is decision making.
Yep.
So I understand the macro. The correct macro play would have been here instead of here.
Yeah,
for a
there,
dragon
and then get the bot wave. And so let's say that there was a bottom lane turret up right now as well, like the tier 3 turret was up. If that turret was up, your play would be immediately play for that turret as well.
Better.
But you also need to be doing this thing, because like I said, the other thing we were talking about before is that you reset too late. And so it's 8 seconds before objective spawns. You should be doing everything I'm saying, but you should already be on the bot wave 15 seconds before objective spawn, or 20 seconds before, because then the enemy, usually what ends up happening, the enemy Baron laner will probably come to you, or someone will come. The rest of the enemy will go dragon, and now you have a chance to 1v1 and kill someone. And if your teammates are smart and you're pinging them, a lot of times 1 or 2 of your teammates will come to you as well, because if they see their jungler not going to the objective, they might ping you and flame you, because that happens. But a lot of times they'll also rotate and help you, and then you'll be in a better spot because you'll be able to win that fight. You get a kill, you recall again, and then you make that topside play on the turret. And now not only did you make a good play on bot lane to lessen the gold gap, but now when the enemy go back to their blue side, as we spoke about, then you get to make that topside play as well, and you basically close the gold gap. So not only would it be better if this 3.6k gold gap was happening again later on in the game, like we talked about, even though I explained it very poorly, but also the gold gap would often be less because you'd get kills on the side lane, basically, or gold at least.
Okay, got it.
And this is true, by the way, for mid lane as well. Like, if you're a mid laner and this same situation was happening, I'd want you maybe quickly push out your mid lane 20 seconds, 25 seconds before objective spawning, the same way I want you to clear your camps at that time as a jungler. And then you would also go side lane and do the same thing. So you can do this as basically any role. Like, there's no role, apart from technically support if no one followed you, where you couldn't do this. But even if you were support, you should do this, but only actually commit to it if a teammate was committing as well on the side lane. But yeah, you see what happened here is now our gold gap is 6k. And it wasn't even a fucking close fight. It was completely just fucking stomp. And we could tell it was going to be a stomp. You said 30-70, that's accurate enough because the enemy do end a lot, right? Because it's solo queue, but most of the time it's going to be a loss. And now the gold gap went from 3.6k to like 7k. It literally doubled in a second. So now and this is pause here as well. So again, the issue is, one, you hadn't cleared your red side camps yet. So now you have to go back to red side. Do you see where he is? He's exactly where I told you he was going to be. Where I told you blue side, right? I didn't know he was actually going to go this far blue side, but he's obviously going to go blue side, as we spoke about. Do you see this is a perfect timer for you to get that top side gold bounty? Because the jungle's not there. And so this is the sequence I was telling you about right after the dragon. You know what I mean? Where now that they've killed dragon, 20 seconds has passed. You have this timer to go top side, and your jungler, or your top laner rather, is usually going to be there. You have a numbers advantage. That's the time to make another comeback. So we need to understand, when we are behind in a game, we need to go to the opposite side of the enemy, strong point as much as possible. Usually that means we are avoiding the jungle, and we're playing around these gold bounties. So whenever we think jungle's bot side, we want to try to be top side, which means we still need to clear our camps, which means you need to try to clear your camps before he's able to get, to the same side as you, and then you go opposite side as fast as possible, basically. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. And yeah, there's a lot of like high rank players that don't do this enough, like the opposite side. Like I was blaming Ozzy, who's a sovereign player, because he was my jungler and he wasn't doing this when he was on my team, and instead he was just going and fighting a bunch, and then he'd get some kills because he's a pretty good player. But what would end up happening is, I mean, we're just still just going to lose the average fight because we're behind from the early game, and he's also a late game champ. He was Lilia, kind of similar to Zed being more late game, like mid game champ, and then you just end up getting soloed on. That's exactly what happens. Like, sure, you clear your camps when you're supposed to. Sure, you're playing the fights pretty well because, again, you're a higher level player. But what ends up happening is just they're going to win more fights because their laners were better early, and you did nothing to basically help in any way. You're just kind of just there, just hoping your laners are better than the enemy for the most part.
Okay. Can I pause here?
No, I'm joking. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, I did buy QSS. I think that was the wrong option. I think I should have just went for Trinity, to be more like gold efficient.
Yeah.
But I also like recently learned about QSS's passive will reduce like CC. by
Yeah, it gives you
25%.
tenacity. Yeah.
Yeah, it gives you tenacity. So I found that like to be really good on other champs like Yon,
Yeah.
who get screwed by CC. So I found that to be like a really good purchase, like say after second item.
So
But that's if they're a heavy CC. Here they don't have heavy CC. I guess like Echo W or
there's
Echo
a couple
Stun.
things. There's a couple things about that. One, yes, you don't need QSS that early because it's not that scary of CC, and it's pretty easy to avoid. Also, you're a really mobile champion, so that's the first thing. Yeah, you don't really. You could get QSS later. It's fine to choose that over stasis this game. Problem is the timing of when you buy it. So the same way that I told you that being down 4K gold early is a lot more than being down 4K gold later because it's a larger percentage of like the total gold in the game that the gap is. The same thing's true for buying enchants or buying items that don't do damage. So QSS is 800 gold of your 9,000. That's a much larger percentage than if you bought QSS when you had 12,000 or 15,000 gold. So you're taking away a lot larger percentage of your damage for that defensive item. So the time that it makes sense to buy these defensive items is when you're ahead and when you're really strong, because then at that point you already have enough damage, you're already really ahead relative to the rest of the enemy. So you can actually spend that so that you don't give away a shutdown or that type of thing. But buying a defensive item in a game like this where your team is doing shit and you just don't have very much damage overall because you're behind a lot makes no sense, because now you just can't kill anyone. Like, you can obviously still kill people, but it's a lot harder to do that when you're wasting so much of your gold on defensive stats when you shouldn't be worried about your life right now, because your life doesn't really matter. You're probably going to lose the game anyway. So you need to be making a more, like risky purchase in order to possibly be able to, one-shot that Lee Sin, because you're going to need every point of damage to one-shot the Lee Sin who's really fed, or to one-shot whoever else, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So here, this game, for example, after third item, you could buy QSS. I wouldn't be mad at you for it. If you were really fed, like say you went, I don't know, 5-0 early game, maybe I'm okay with you doing second. But usually I don't do most enchants any earlier than second item. Also, you didn't even click your QSS, bro. So like, what the fuck? You bought QSS, so you didn't click it when you got CC'd. So what the fuck do we buy it for? Like, obviously, it's not very useful if we don't click our buttons. Unless I missed you, maybe you clicked it before and I wasn't looking. But either way,
No, I didn't use it.
yeah. So like, I mean, we didn't even use it, so it doesn't even matter. But yeah, mostly just that to keep in mind. Like, again, I'm really against defensive purchases when we're behind. Only really something I want to do when I'm ahead, for the most part. Unless, like, okay, let's say we could buy a stasis after second item if maybe they had a Zed and a Fizz and like whatever, but pretty rare. And again, here you're focusing on random fights. Just get the waves. Like, just go for the wave. You could have gone mid wave already, gotten that gold, then you could have just gotten the top wave. No real reason to be like so concerned with this fight initially, or like be so scared of them. But at this point, the game's over, right? We're down 11.
Yeah. So can I just fast forward?
Yeah.
So everything snowballs or goes downhill after the early to mid game, and then
Yep.
yeah.
And again, I'll write down the main points for you after the second replay that we go over. But initially, just from that game, lack of efficiency in the early game, leading to you getting invaded, and just trying to overforce ganks. Just take the ganks when they show up. Don't try to overforce, especially making sure that your second clear round, you full clear both sides quickly so that you can have enough time to recall, come back and set up for the objective beforehand. And then making better plans before second dragon, especially making sure that if we're behind a lot, we think we're probably not going to win. If we ever say that it's a 30-70 chance of us winning, don't go to the fucking fight. Makes no goddamn sense. So instead, go to the side lane, get gold from there, maybe take a turret if we can. If no turret's up on the side that we're going to, which is opposite of dragon, then we reset around 5 to 10 seconds after they kill the dragon so we can go to the top side to take that turret, right, when they're going blue side, you know, as we kind of spoke about with that whole sequence. But basically, it's just, you know, be more avoidant in the mid game if the enemy jungle and enemy team is really ahead. And then the time where we have to start facing them head on is when Baron spawns. Like at the 12-minute mark when Baron spawns, now we have to be on the Baron side most of the time, right? Because obviously we don't want them getting Baron. But yeah, that's kind of the main thing. Does that all make sense?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. So the second replay I wanna show is Yas.
All right.
So here I did better than my Z game. But
Yeah.
I want to see like how I can improve macro-wise. Like I'm still on the fence about roaming as a mid lane Yasuo. Because you can lose a lot more when you roam, right? Because of turret plates and waves.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really need to lose much if you just push your wave quick enough. So it's more about planning the times to roam properly. It's the same as like as a jungle, you don't want to gank early game until your camps are cleared, right? The same thing is true for mid lane. It's just you don't want to rotate until your wave is cleared and you push your wave. And it's not just about pushing the first wave, it's usually about pushing the second wave as well. Like there's usually, you know, there's a mid wave, you're on the mid wave, but then the next one's coming in say 10-15 seconds. We want to make sure we get that one as soon as it reaches mid, and then we can roam, because now we have a long, you know, time in between before the, you know, the next wave's going to come. So it's mostly about that in terms of roaming. So you shouldn't be on, like, I don't know why you say on the fence about roaming. It doesn't make sense to me, because you're not, it's not either I'm never going to roam or I'm always going to roam. Like, you find the balance based on the specific game and everything like that. Also, if you pause again real quick, top right again, 3 little bars, the fog of war, make it blue. There we go. Blue. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, gotcha.
And like also into a Galio, do you think you're gonna kill a Galio most of the time?
No.
So in a lane where you don't think you're gonna kill someone most of the time, how do you think you can find value? Like, what do you think you can do to find value despite not killing much?
Probably by pushing wave and then playing with my jungler.
Yeah, and we can see like literally right now, and like this, I wasn't even looking at the map to actually pay attention to this, but like we should have known this is happening quicker. And then your plan here, so like you should see this right now. You should obviously push your wave and then go, right? Like it's pretty straightforward why we should do that. And so instead of you continuing to fight this guy really hard to the death, we should make sure we're trying to push and roam. So you can start the replay, but we'll see what we do. So yeah, you're just kind of trading pretty hard. There's a big fight going on there, and we don't have that prowess. So yeah, you can kind of see like you're just building up a little advantage. It ends up that your team kills them, you know, so not a big deal. But you again having that lane actually push would allow you to rotate. And like for example, we would expect that enemy Kale is going to show up really soon on the blue side, because we can tell they started red side, right? Because your jungler is on his blue, like the enemy blue. So yeah, this is stupid. Like look at this. You're completely. The Kale's about to show up on Viego, probably. I don't know what Kale's doing, actually. He must have gone to blue. So actually pause right. Like, again, where's Kale right now? Your conclusion should have been 100% that he's on your blue buff right now. Why? Do you know why? Does it make sense why?
Because Viego showed here. So
and that camp's not cleared, so clearly he would have cleared all of that. Because, like, we're 130 into the game. Is there any jungler in the entire game who can't clear 3 camps in 1 minute and 30 seconds?
No.
Everyone can clear it. So he would have cleared all 3 of those red side camps and already be on the blue side, so you know he's blue. And then click the 3 little bars again, click Fog of War, and make it all. Where is he? I don't need to, you know, I don't actually need to see to tell you where he is. I was literally able to tell you exactly where he is. And you should have been able to come to that same conclusion, and you should have gone and fucked his entire game, and he should have literally be unplayable. It's a Kale, dude. Like, you could pretty much 1v2 Kale Galio early game, and your Lulu's going. So, like, you have 0 map awareness here, and you're completely, and you play jungle, so, like, you also understand how jungle works well enough. It's not like you only play mid. You should 100% know exactly where Kale is right now based on all of those things. Does it make sense to you why he was there and why you should have known he's there?
Yes,
Okay, so
but
that's all.
but I was not paying attention to the map, like
Exactly.
you said.
And so that's why we need to, at the start of the lane, before the lane starts, determine our goal in the lane. Determine, you're a Yasuo one trick. You've played every matchup of Yasuo. You know how frequently you're going to kill Galio or not. Probably not going to kill Aftershock Galio very often. Makes way more sense to screw over jungle. Yes, you see an okay angle to maybe get a gank off here. But one, they have flash and they're closer to their turret. Two, your Lulu's nowhere nearby. You know, and he's fleet as well. So pretty unlikely to actually work out that well. And you don't have insane gank setup. And they're up a level on your laner. So there's a lot of reasons why this probably won't work out. It might work out, you know, it's definitely possible, but yeah. And you're losing out on a lot mid lane because you're further away from mid lane. Like pretty much. Also change the vision back to thing, but yeah. Hey, I think you do kill though. At least we get the kill, yeah. But yeah, basically lack of map awareness and planning. Even though you're able to tell me relatively accurately like what's going to happen and where people are, you're not responding, you know, with that information. You're pretty much just... And also this roam is really early generally. Like it's very rare that I'm gonna want you to roam this deep, level 3 or 4 for like a lane gank. Like it's different when the enemy jungle's invading your, you know, blue buff. But there's no real reason most of the time to go that deep for a gank, because if you did that and the enemy Galio just stayed on lane, he would have denied you a bunch of gold and you'd be like pretty screwed over. And so again here, your goal is to push the wave as quick as possible and then recall. You're half health and the wave is pushing really hard. Yeah, you just push here. And then you can maybe help your jungle in this case if he needs it, but yeah. But yeah, I'm kind of looking, okay, at this point, yeah, I'm just like, I'm gonna recall. Well, I guess now your Viego's being, maybe he kills. Okay. See, I wasn't even paying attention. You recalled already. You should have been like paying attention to your Viego much more closely and like stayed there, you know, when he was going forward. So again, you're just like very unaware of what your job is in the early game. Again, let's say, I don't know, like what's a really easy matchup for Yasuo that you found you pretty much can kill or do really well in most games?
Orianna.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad that you say that because I hate that matchup as Orianna. So yeah, if you're playing into Orianna, then you can play and have the plan to solo kill her. Now maybe, you know, you found your level 4 and it turns out that, you know, you're not going to kill her, right? You realize at level 4, like, I'm not going to kill her. Then start to roam and do your stuff again. But if you're in an easy lane matchup like that, then play the first couple levels with the intent to solo kill. And not only that, but like take into account, you know, jungle as well. Like if you're into Kale jungle Orianna, you're definitely going to probably play for lane dominance and solo killing. But let's say you're into Vi jungle in Orianna, maybe you're a little more scared of a gank. Or Warwick jungle, like maybe you have to be a bit more aware of gank after level, you know, 4, right? When the enemy jungle is going to actually gank you. So I just need you to be making a lot better plans when it comes to what your lane phase / early jungle pathing, depending on which champion or role we're playing. And then how we're going to approach objectives in terms of, you know, pushing our wave before the objective or clearing our camps, making sure we're understanding which objective we want to prioritize, understanding second dragon again, the comeback angle, going on the opposite side instead of contesting when we're behind. So yeah, mostly just that. We can start unless you have questions. And even here, I'd assume you could have gone more aggressive looking for that, like with your teammates like hovering. Like I don't know why you're kind of like running so far back. Like I thought maybe they were, I don't know, they're kind of low. I guess maybe not. I think I'm wrong there, but yeah. And so again here, even now, like once this next wave comes, so again, pause real quick. What's your plan for the next 25 to 45 seconds? What should you be thinking about doing right now?
I'd say hard shoving here, recalling, and then getting item, and then shoving the next wave before objective.
Yeah, except, so are you saying you're going to shove this wave and the next wave, or just this wave right now before recalling?
This wave and the next wave.
Yeah, this wave and the next wave. Yeah, recall, come back to lane, get the wave, then you have an opportunity to roam. Okay, so good. So hopefully that's what we do, right? So you were able to make the plan.
Wait. Actually,
yeah.
Okay, I remember now though. I freeze.
See, and that's the thing, is you can tell me what you should do. It was very quick, you told me. You knew exactly what to do, but you don't do it, you know? You don't actually make or you're not making this plan. Because in your mind, I'm sure you're pretty much just like, I can deny him gold, I'm just gonna like fight him. You weren't really thinking specifically about the next minute, you know, the objective being set up for that. or anything like that. You were just, I want to get a bit of a gold lead.
Correct.
200 gold lead on Galio. Aftershock probably tank Galio. Maybe he's AP, but he has Aftershock, so it doesn't do much for us. He's AP, but still, same thing. 200 gold lead on him, not anything like to write home about. It's nice to have the gold lead for sure, but that's not, again, our main goal in the game. That's not what we should be planning around, that type of thing. So, and yeah, now you might even be screwed to the point that you never get to reset before Dragon. We'll see. Maybe you'll shove, but yeah, I think you're not even going to reset before Dragon. So it's your planning around objectives that just like completely sucks. And again, your mechanics on these champs, I mean, you're playing a fucking, you know, Zed Yasuo, like your mechanics are good and you're challenger with them, right? But you just don't plan at all. Like that's all that it is. It's even, you half the time you know what you should be doing. So I want you to be very focused on, because again, when I tell people like how to improve and whatever, I'm mainly giving them a few things at a time to work on, and I only want them focusing on that. All I want you thinking about for your next 20 or 30 games or whatever is specific key timers of the game. So my plan for the first 3 to 4 levels before I'm going to recall once. Then what's my plan for the next, 2 minutes before the objective spawns? What's my plan once the first objective spawns? What's my plan in between first and second? And then what's my plan during, all that, right? So I just want pretty much all that you think about for those next games, just like planning during those certain times. And obviously, again, going for example, when we're behind, trying to play more away from people, understanding which lanes you can and can't kill in, because again, you know your matchups very well in these champs. Like, does that all kind of make sense? Like, what I want you focusing on?
Yeah.
Cool. And yeah, we can see you never recalled here. So how much gold have you spent? Go to your items right now. What have you even bought right now? You have 2 fucking long swords and steel caps. Like, you're fucking useless. Like, you could have had so much more gold spent before that objective. But we just, yeah, we're basically a useless champion here. I don't know why you went armor boots so early either, if you were laning in a Galio and there's a Kale. I don't really see the point in doing that early. Like, if anything, we just rush Wit's End and then do steel caps after. Because you can always get Wit's End before first objective, so.
Alright.
That's a bit more of a, like, I don't know 100% if I'm right, because I don't play Yasuo, so maybe I'm completely wrong there, but that's what makes sense to me. I don't really like buying defensive boots early if they're the opposite, damage type, or blocking the opposite damage to what my laner's damage type is. And then yeah, so again, what's your plan for the next minute of this game?
First, and then probably buy Wit's End. After I buy Wit's End.
Your mic again. You're talk closer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. After recalling and buying Wit's End is probably to shove mid wave and then look to play with my jungle in gank.
Okay. Yeah, so exactly, because there's side lane turrets up and your mid lane turret's not up, so you have the exact correct plan. Let's see if we do it. I'm fine with you obviously helping him here. If I guess you stole it from him, you're kind of an asshole, but it's fine, I respect it. And then we chase our jungler without having yet recalled, so we're not very strong. Hails, I mean, I don't really mind this too much, but again, a bit like risky, but I don't really mind it. Should be going back mid here and pushing mid, which you do. And then you can recall after this and then do basically what you said. As long as we do that, I mean, most is pretty much fine. Yep.
Yeah, I recalled too late here, right? I was sitting on like 3,000 gold here, like 3,500.
Yeah, and that's kind of your problem a lot of the times, is not resetting enough or on proper timers, and then you end up having a lot of gold spent. Because you hadn't reset, I think this is your first time resetting since Dragon, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe, yeah I'm pretty sure it was. And that was even like you hadn't reset since like 3.5 minutes. And then you didn't go mid wave here, so what did you say? You said you wanted to shove mid then go with your jungle? But you didn't shove mid and go with your jungle, you instantly went. Now we're losing out on that mid lane gold. So even if you get a kill here, which you might, not even really as beneficial as if we, like, you could have been here anyways, but push that mid wave. Instead we don't get the mid, and then Galio is able to just go on us, and I don't think you kill. Maybe you do. I mean, they're could maybe kill this. I don't know. I don't think so though. See. It looks like you killed them. Okay, or they just have the fucking stupid shit. Okay. Like, your mechanics are good on these champions. Like, you're able to outplay people. Now if we just like make proper decisions and plans, then like we're gonna climb very easily. But yeah, you see even how much you're losing in mid lane there. I don't know if it's gonna quite crash yet. Yeah, it crashes, and so you've lost at least 300 gold from all that. And obviously your top laner rather eventually at least gets it, but all of those things could have been yours and then still probably gotten here, because that fight lasted a while. Like you probably would have been able to still go and get a top kill or two. Likely had the same thing. I don't know if you need to charge your phone. If you do, it's fine. But yeah, that's kind of the main thing. And then here again, I'm fine with you going top right away because the wave's pretty far in mid. So like you could have even gone top right away. And the reason it'd make more sense to go top is because there's a turret up there. And so yeah, like here, I just go top. Like this fight is super greedy. I mean, it might end up working out, right? But yeah, there's just no point in fighting this. You're like trying to be faker, and maybe you're a faker at the end, but nope. So again, there was a top wave and a turret up. Could have planned for that, could have made the easy play to get that. Instead, we decided to chase super deep into the enemy jungle when our team wasn't in a great spot to go into 4 people and try to be faker, which is fun. You know, I get it. Yasuo is a champion who makes us want to do these types of things a lot, but it's just really unnecessary. Because it was kind of a problem I was having a lot when I was playing Corki. Is like, I would get really fed early game, I would be strong, and then when I'm ahead, I would try to take every single fight, even if the fight circumstances weren't very beneficial. And then I'd find myself, I lose one fight, all of a sudden the gold gets a lot closer. Maybe I lose one more fight, and then it feels really bad. So here, dude, what the fuck? Like, why? Why are you here? I'm not actually mad at you, I just like screaming sometimes. But like, we're like 25 seconds before the objective. You went opposite side on the time when you were ahead, and you went same side last game when you were behind. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, you could have fought this objective with your team. You could have gone there 100%. There's no reason to be opposite side, because this time your thought actually makes sense. Because you're ahead. You're a pretty strong early game champion. Viego's very strong early game. Volibear's very strong. So is Ashe, and Lulu's gonna make all those champions a lot stronger. No reason you couldn't have gone with your team. Now, say once your team died, like then you were like, okay, let me back off. Actually, that's fine, but initially you had a chance to go and contest. So.
Got you.
Looks like you guys probably hard win this fight, I assume. Yeah. Yeah, you know, I have like really no issue with how you play the fights. I mean, you play half the fights better than I would play these fights, even if, I mean, I suck at Yasuo, but if I was playing a champ I'm good at, like, mechanics aren't an issue at all. But again, it's what you do after. Like, what you should do with your time right now is either recall and go topside or instantly run topside. Your team's gonna get this mid turret anyways, but you could get your team even more gold out of it if you go get that top wave, and then you get top turret. But now you're just getting mid turret. Your team would have got this anyways, right? Like, you weren't needed here. You could have used this 10, 15, 20 seconds to go topside, and then if you push topside, you got that turret, you'd be able to get to Baron side right away. Instead, you're not able to get Baron right away. As it's spawning, I'm not saying I would want you to start Baron off spawn, but I'm saying I want you on the side of the map that Baron's on. Whereas now you're not going to be there right away, and the enemy's going to respawn. So for some reason, you still got greedy for this turret, it looks like. They're obviously going to come to you. Like, I don't see any reason why the enemy wouldn't contest you here. Way too risky, yeah. So now we're just wasting an additional 5 or 10 seconds. Then we go back again. And now you're not on the correct side, because once again, our plan should be we want to be on the Baron side. And then if we saw 2 people on top side, including their jungler here, we would just Baron, right? And we have really fast Baron damage, we'd be able to kill it as a team. So you don't have to be worried about the enemy. Does that make sense? Why I want you on, you know, where I wanted you for the last like 30, 40 seconds?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. If it doesn't, by the way, just tell me. Like, I'm okay with clarifying. I know I don't always say things as clear as I can, so if you do need me to clarify, just let me know anytime. But...
Yeah. No. Thank you. That's one of the reasons I wanted to have coaching, is to work on my macro. Because I knew like games I was losing. I'm like, I could have played this better macro wise, but I don't know exactly what I'm doing wrong.
So based on what we've talked about so far, what are your main issues in that game?
It's not thinking like ahead when objectives are gonna spawn, right? Like a minute and a half before objectives spawn. And then like what side lane I want to be based on the timers of objectives. Because Yasuo is really strong side lane, right?
Yeah. So yeah, here you'd want to be bot side, for example, yeah, as we said. And so yeah, it's basically when it comes to those objectives, like the long and short of it is, if we're really behind and we don't want to fight, then we'll go opposite side of the objective. If we're ahead and we want to fight, we'll go same side. It's pretty much that straightforward for the most part. And obviously, whenever Baron spawns, we're pretty much always going to be same side of Baron because it's Baron. But if it's like a dragon, then we can choose. And again, here you can see because you wasted time, your team ended up being in a fight without you. And I'm sure you've had games where your team is ahead and then they end up fighting 4v5 without you and they throw. And that's what could have happened there because you were too late to be on the correct side. Now, again, you guys won this fight, doesn't matter. But that is definitely a way where you are going to throw some games because of that type of thing. So.
Yeah, totally, completely, like exactly how you said it.
And these things are also things I do wrong when I'm like autopiloting, so I get that as well. Like when I'm autopiloting and not thinking, I'll make the exact same mistakes. I'll be on the wrong side. I won't be making that plan because sometimes, you know, you're either tilted, which one thing is like make sure, you know, if you are tilted, take a break, obviously, because then you're not going to be able to think as well. Or if you're just like not really actively thinking because tired or whatever other reason. So that's why, like, depending on, I'm assuming your goal is probably to get sovereign. I don't know, maybe it's not, but is that the main goal or?
Yeah, by this season.
Yeah. So like if that's your goal, then playing when you're actually in like a proper state of mind, so that you're able to plan and make these like kind of things. Like I would even say every day or so before you start, having like a list of things, whether it's just the notes that I give you or your own list based on whatever, of like things to think about each game. Like, because there's basically things you want to actively think about every game, and then there's things that are just going to be habits. Things like obviously what button you're clicking, you know, your Yasuo mechanics, how you play the matchups, mostly autopilot, but making the plan on specifically how you want to approach one matchup, or again, where you want to be on the map and win, like those are things you have to put active thought into. And it depends on the time of the game as well, for like when objectives are spawning versus when they aren't. And so just like kind of determining what we have to actually be thinking about during the game and don't have to think about is just how we can kind of like avoid autopilot.
I'll play like about 4 to 5 games a day max. I think that's good. Like if I go 8 or 10, I start like just tilting.
Yeah.
So the quality of like game just goes down.
If you're playing, let's just say you play 5 games a day, then 5 times 90 I think is like 3 or 450. Is it 450? I don't know. I think it is. Yeah, should be 450. So you'd get 450 games in the season. I'm just letting you know it took me 490 games last season to get sovereign. So it's probably not super likely if you play 450 games so you get sovereign, unless you have a really high win rate, because I think I had 58% win rate with that many games. So playing like, you know, 6 or 7 a day might even get that high enough, just in terms of games needed, and also playing more games later in the season rather than earlier. But I'm going to share my screen with you now while I write the notes out. So just let me know when you see my screen. I know you don't see it yet, but you see it now?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. Okay. You see the notes still, right?
Yeah, Zed.
Yeah, so yeah. So first thing, we're just gonna go into, we're thinking about the Zed game first, then we'll go to the Yasuo game. So Zed game, your early game was fine on the first clear. Second clear was where it was a problem. So usually second clear instantly, do both sides, then take a quick recall, then gold, then have about 30 to 60 seconds before objective to go to whichever objective we prefer. Or I'll just say to set up, I guess. Set up for objective. So basically, like a lot of times with you, it's like you're still clearing all your camps, but you're not clearing them in the correct time, where it's like you're clearing your second side of camps basically right before dragon spawning, when you want to be clearing them a little earlier so you can recall and then set up for dragon. And then the time where you're actually going to gank is going to be like closer to the dragon spawn time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then opposite side of second dragon when we are behind. Does this make sense when I write it like this, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the other main things? I feel like a lot of times just like don't overforce ganks before farming. Pretty straightforward, but you were kind of multiple times kind of planning and looking for ganks before actually clearing your camps, especially again on like a champion like Zed. Doesn't make a lot of sense. only buy defensive items when even or ahead, unless we are late in the game, basically. But late in the game, like at that point, you would be like 4 items, you know, so then it's fine. I think those are probably the main things, and then making a plan, so just make sure plan. For you, I want it to be like, normally I'll tell people 30 to 60 seconds. For you, I want it to be more like 60 to 90 seconds for an objective, because you're usually able to answer when I tell you what you should, or ask you what you should do. You're able to tell me properly, and you're able to tell me what you're going to do for the next wave or two, in terms of like, am I going to push this wave and then, you know, recall, then come push the next wave, then rotate, set up for an objective, or when it comes to jungle, you know, similar things. So I want you thinking about that. Again, that's like the main thing I really want you focusing on. Those are the main things I can think of for the jungle game. When it comes to mid, plan out first 3 to 4 levels of lane phase and determine your goal. If goal is to win lane hard, then play for lane, obviously, you know, pretty straightforward. And then if we cannot kill our laner, play to push and roam / get vision. Don't overforce fights deep in enemy jungle when ahead. If we can play for side lane turrets, and again, stop me anytime you have questions, to be clear. But
Yeah.
side lane, same side of the objectives like Baron, and then also side lane, same side of any objective want to fight, and opposite side of any objective we don't want to fight. Any objective don't want to fight. And then, is there any other questions or things I talked about that you want written down, or just like anything at all?
No, like I think this does cover a lot of my macro mistakes that I knew I needed to improve on, but this is actually like my first coaching session. But thank you.
Yeah, of course. I'll send you these notes, and yeah, good luck. I'll upload this probably tomorrow, the next day.